What's up, everybody? It's Big Blue Power Hour. Got some
What's
big
up, man?
news for week one of free agency. It's season's officially starting with free agency this first week. How's it going, Evan?
I'm good, man. Because we're doing a lot better, but we'll get into that right now, won't we?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So the Giants have finally signed a quarterback, Jameis Winston, to the rescue. What do you think? What do you think of the signing?
Well, like I said, out of the three we heard that they were interested in, it's about what I expected. I feel that we are not the destination to go to, and it's kind of evident. If you look at, they're all fighting over Pittsburgh. They're waiting for Pittsburgh to make their mind up. And once Pittsburgh makes their mind up, and that's if they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers because they don't want to sign Russell Wilson, but they want to keep Russell Wilson just in case he goes somewhere else. He doesn't want to come to the Giants because otherwise he wouldn't have left. That's the thing. But
And he
Jameis,
says Wilson would have been the better choice. I think talent-wise, yes.
yeah,
But
but like I said,
I do like Jameis Winston. I think that he's not going to get you like extremely far, but he's better than what we've had. He's better than Jones. He's better than
yes,
Daniel Jones for sure. With someone like Neighbors, he's serviceable, I would say. But that tells me maybe they're going to be taking a quarterback in the draft, which we'll talk about later in the stream.
now,
Um, but I think that I think it's a good signing. Let's see. Also, it's a smart signing. Paul says, also, it's a smart signing. He's changed from his days as a turn machine. He can be get the ball downfield. I do like that he get the ball downfield. I do like that he's aggressive. I do think he'll be doing with Malik Neighbors. He's not going to be as good as Wilson or Rodgers, but he'll be better than what we've had. So with
yeah,
someone like Neighbors, someone like Robinson, you have Slayton back, which I don't know if I will talk about that signing. I don't know if I agree with that one necessarily. But you have some weapons. You maybe did another weapon in the draft. Um, you try to solidify the offensive line, and maybe they're going to take quarterback in the draft. I like the signing. Um, what says 30 interceptions? I get that, but he hasn't had that many interceptions in a while. He hasn't played that many games in a while. I mean, he hasn't played more than 7 games. Played 12 games last year. That's more he's played since 2019. So he hasn't played a whole lot, but I like the Winston signing. It's not perfect, but you're not going to spend a lot of money. You're going to get him for cheap. And if he plays serviceable to average, I'm okay with that for now.
yeah, I agree. Like I said, I agree. Wilson would have been my go-to. Like I said, I wouldn't mind having Aaron Rodgers either. He's a little bit more of a statue behind this questionable line,
Yeah,
but
I could go good or really good or really bad.
yeah,
I
but
think it's too risky.
you can't go into the draft with just one quarterback because then it puts you in a position where people know what you have to take.
You're
They know
vulnerable.
what you need.
Yeah,
So it, Russell Wilson holding out on Pittsburgh, hoping that he can go back, is not something that's manageable. You
I
have
don't like
to,
some of his antics.
because now we're not going to go. We already have two quarterbacks. DeVito might get cut if they can get like a Russell Wilson, but then Jameis Winston's not going to want to play third string. The quarterback coming in is not going to want to be third string this year, even if it is on a
Yeah,
1 year deal. Um, I thought that was probably this is the latest because it just happened literally right before we got on the air.
yeah, like
But I
an
agree. I
hour,
think
not even an hour ago.
he's a long way away. He's matured as a thrower. If you look at him and Mariota coming out that 2015 draft, he's come out as the better of the two, and he has. So I think he's come a long way from Tampa throwing 30 interceptions a year. He's matured with the ball. Kind of like a resurgence of a Geno Smith type character.
Yeah,
He had a real renaissance, and this could be a renaissance for him.
I do think Flacco as a backup for Dallas would be a good idea. Yeah, I think Flacco's a solid backup. Let's see. Yeah, best player available if Cam goes. Yeah, maybe that's what it means. Maybe it's just the bridge guy they want to get a solid veteran, I think, not an elite quarterback, but I think he's a good veteran. He's a good, locker room presence, and if he drafts a quarterback, it's a good guy to have. And, maybe that's their plan to draft someone and then have that person step in, and he'll be their bridge guy. But I like the signing. I think it's good they finally made a decision. They didn't go and spend a bunch of money on Rodgers or, you know, if someone's going to jerk them around, why, just make your decision. And now Wilson can get in the building, he can learn the offense, get rhythm with everybody, and I like the signing. So I think it's a solid signing.
Some of the
It doesn't cost
going
a
into
lot.
this free agency, one of the things I wanted to see them was shore up the offensive line, and I'm not particularly pleased with who they went after. A
Yeah,
lot of the top
they
offensive
signed Ford
linemen,
Forsyth, Stone Forsyth,
it's
offensive
horrible
tackle. James Hudson, I think, is a little bit better
from the Browns, correct?
from the Browns. Yes, he's a swing tackle, but maybe they're thinking about moving Neal into the guard position, which I really would consider. And then they brought back Greg Van Roten, which I like that signing. I think that's a good signing for
Yeah.
them.
He said the offensive line's coming together if Neal can play guard. And he doesn't look so fucking lost out
Not try
there.
and salvage that pick. I mean, I just don't trust him at tackle. So
no, he's too slow at a tackle.
maybe it's something they'll address in the draft because, but I do like their guards if they can stay healthy. But you got to improve your depth. So in the draft,
and
maybe in the third
we'll get into
round,
this,
later
but
in
I
the
think
draft,
this is
improve
Andrew
your
Thomas's
depth.
last year. He gets hurt again, he's gone. He's got to be because out of the
You can't
6
stay
years that
healthy,
we've had you,
or restructure his contract.
yeah, and then get rid of him.
That's something that let's see. Paul says Witt's contract is 2 years, $8 million. That's not bad at all. Rodgers would have been $30 million per year. So I think it makes sense. And financially, it makes sense. It's it's not too risky. You know what you're getting. You're not spending a lot of money. You're spending less per year than you're spending on Drew Lock.
Yeah. And I think with him saying he would love to
So
play for
I'll
the
take that.
Giants about a month ago, that really opened up the window for him. Especially, like we said, Rodgers, holding out. He's holding out for a better deal or a better team. And then you have Russell Wilson wanting to go back to his old team, and they're holding out for it's the chase game. We're trying to chase these two while they're chasing something totally different, and they're settling for us. I
You have to
really
realize
don't want
where
that on my team.
Yeah, we have to realize where we're at. We're not a contender, right? We're not like a guaranteed playoff team or a legitimate playoff contender at the moment, or seen as that. Even though I do like some of the signings we'll talk about, we just want to talk about the Winston sign because it just happened, and it's something they need to address. Now they have 2 quarterbacks on their roster. They have DeVito and they have Jameis Winston. That makes me think there's a high possibility they're going to take a quarterback at some point. Either trade up, either stay at 3 and take Sanders if he's there. Because I think Ward's going to go 1 or 2, without a doubt.
Ward's off the board for us. Fortunately,
unless we trade up, we're not getting Ward.
His comp being Big Ben is really wowing his arm. It's kind of like with Anthony Richards going.
He's got great arm talent. I think he's more talented than Richardson. I think he's got more talent. He's insane arm talent.
So with that going in, at this point the Giants can't lose, and what I mean by that is the Giants have the second round or the second pick in the second round. Okay, they also have 2 number 3s, I believe.
They have the first pick in the 3rd round.
And yeah, one of them being the first pick of the 3rd round. You can't lose because Daboll is a quarterback's coach. He has worked with quarterbacks since being in New England. He definitely knows what it needs to succeed. His work with Josh Allen has turned things around. The minimum work he's done with Daniel Jones, getting him to a playoff game and winning a playoff game, just turning chicken salad out of making chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah, I think it's just
I'm sorry. Yeah, good.
I agree with you. I think that being where the Giants are at, you want someone cheap, you want someone experienced.
Mhm.
and we'll see what happens to the draft. They get a quarterback or not. We'll have to see. Let's say,
Yeah.
yeah, I think Cam's off the board unless they trade up or the Giants trade up to 1. I think Cam is going number 1.
I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that are in this. We'll get to the draft later, but I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that I would be happy with besides
What's up, Eileen? What's going on? What's going
besides
on?
besides Wards or Sanders, which I'm really high on Sanders too because
I like Sanders. I do like him.
yeah, don't let this fool you because I
I like
doubt
him.
Deion's gonna want his son to go to Cleveland or Tennessee
New
over
York's a
New York.
great market too. You know they're looking at it from a business standpoint, being the way Deion Sanders is. They want exposure in New York City. The market, that's the market you want to be in if you're if you're Shedeur Sanders,
Mm-hmm.
you want to grow your brand, that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
And I think he could definitely be there for us. Let me get some other comments here.
Now, going
Let me get
into
some,
the
hold
other
on one second.
signings, though.
No, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Somebody did some comments. Rodgers probably wants to play in a dome or warm weather, maybe. I don't. Is there anyone who needs a quarterback that plays in a dome right now? I would think the Colts, but they signed Jones, so they're not going to sign Rodgers too. Rodgers has. I was in Pittsburgh for 8 hours today. I saw that. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about Rodgers is his antics. At least with Winston, I don't think he's really going to be to do anything too stupid. I think he's a good locker room guy, and I think he will like Neighbors tremendously. And I think he'll
Yeah.
target him a whole lot.
And
I wouldn't take
getting
Sanders at
Rod.
3. I would. What? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Getting Rodgers at now. If he does go for another 2 years, even just staying with Jameis Winston for 2 years, that opens up Travis Hunter. I would go with. Actually, I don't want to go into a draft talk. So I want to really go into the free agency right here because the free
Yeah.
agency is
Yeah.
because a lot of the free
Yeah.
agents just today we got LaJordan Humphreys
Yeah.
from the from Broncos. If you look at his frame, what they're trying to build, he's 6'4", about 220 pounds. He's a big body receiver. Something what Bryce Ford Wheaton was supposed to be,
I like him.
but he's worked out better
He
on
can
special
contribute.
teams. That
He can
signing I
contribute.
really like. It shows that they're even with Slayton. I think Slayton. I know you said you didn't like that signing, him coming back.
I like Slayton, but not necessary for $12 million a year.
No, that was a little too much. I think that's
Yeah,
because of the veteran cost.
I think that's a little bit too much. I'll get to the stuff about the draft in chat in a second. But yeah, that's the only. I thought I like Slayton. But you know what you're gonna get with Slayton, I guess. I guess they like him as a locker room guy. He knows the
Yeah.
offense. I would have went in other directions, but that's the only side.
I think it's because he's the longest tenant on that offense. He's
Yeah,
been
3
there.
years, 36 million.
So you also got to see how can that. He's an older guy, not even old really. He's still under 20, under 30.
But I
But
like Slayton.
But all the other receivers are young guys. They're you don't have a
But I
veteran
like
receiver
Slayton.
on there.
Yeah.
So he pays for it more in production. And he has been besides Neighbors last year, he's been the Giants' #1 receiver since being drafted.
Yep.
So I give him
Besides
that.
last year.
But I agree with you. I wouldn't agree with you on Javon Holland. I thought that was a great signing coming from Miami. He's been in production a little bit down over the last 2 years, but I think he's a really good wrapping up safety.
Good safety. Good
And
safety.
Was it Chauncey Golston from
Golden. Yep.
That's kind of our replacement for Aziz. Aziz
He's
is
a good rotational guy. 3 years,
yeah.
13.5 million.
And
I like him.
guys, listen, I was a big Aziz fan. I'm kind of mad that he went to the Eagles because that's another one. My father was like, he's going to be an Eagle one day. He is. He's a great pass rusher, but he's not on the field enough. Like he's had 10 sack seasons in 7 games. If he can stay
I like him,
healthy,
but
and then the 1 year he does stay healthy, we don't get 10 sacks. So
nope.
the attendance is not there for the production. Like, and we can't have somebody sitting out 8-9 games and not playing.
But
This kid,
yeah, I like him. I like him. I think it's a solid signing for them. I think they definitely improved their interior. I also like the Paulson and Debo signing.
now going into the 2 tackles we got, Stone Forsyth. Why the fuck would you get him? That makes no sense. He's
He's not
ranked in the
very good.
last 20
He
of
sucks.
tackles. He was in the revolt. He's worse than Evan Neal by far. Like
Yeah, I don't
people,
like him.
I have a
I don't
Seattle.
get that one.
I have a friend who roots heavily for Seattle. He contacts me as soon as we sign him. I'm like, is the guy any good? I'm like, he goes, bro, I don't know why the fuck y'all signed him. He is a revolving door. And he sent me the link to Twitter, like when he got signed, saying that they finally got rid of him. The
Yeah.
Seattle fans are glad to be. He ranked in the bottom 20 of tackles. He was atrocious, but yet we signed him. Now Stone was a little.
James
Stone the
Hudson.
third wasn't as bad, but he still ranks in the bottom 100 of.
Yeah, I don't think he's an answer.
No, it's not an answer. This is just in case Andrew Thomas goes out. But then again,
Yeah, Eddie agrees with you. That's bad to be
yeah, it
worse than
is.
Neil.
It's bad if you're worse than Neil because fuck, I would
Forsyth
keep.
was not good for Seattle last year, and I don't really like that signing. I like the James Hudson signing way better. That one, the Stone Forsyth signing, I don't really like that one.
Now the big signing I want to get to, Paulson Adebo.
Yeah.
Finally showing up that we have the youngest backfield in the league.
It's a good signing.
You know,
I like him.
it gives Banks time to get off of that. Come on, he may be a quarterback 2. He may not be a cornerback 1, but at least will show up that cornerback position, that safety division.
He's
Safety
close. He's
back
been
there.
one of the top corners, top 5 corners past 3 seasons before he
Yeah,
broke his femur. He broke his femur last year, but I don't think that's an injury that you can't come back from. That's not like an ACL or an Achilles or something like that. So Paulson Adebo is a good player, and I think it's a really good signing. It's
yeah.
something
I
they
think
need to
that's
shore
him
definitely
and
need to
Javon
shore up.
Holland definitely up there for 1 and 1A, for like 1A and 1B for top signings. Goldston being 2, I think, and then Jameis Winston being 3, because that right there was just important. And let's not for the biggest re-signing we've had,
Yeah,
um,
it's a cheap
James
insurance policy.
Gillian, our punter, because he's going to be working a lot this year. We're going to need a solid point to at least make the offenses work harder on the other side.
I
So,
like
because
him.
we're going to be punting a lot this year.
So I think it's a good re-signing. I think bringing back Greg Van Roten's a good signing. I think Manhurts is a good signing for a blocking tight end.
I don't agree on Manhurts. What has he done besides be a blocker?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just a re-sign just for them. Let's see. Michael says all you guys say James Winston. We like the signing. I think it's nothing to like. So like elite or nothing. Not gonna put make us a
But you know
contender,
what
but it makes
Jameson is, though. That's the
makes
thing.
a quarter. I like what James Winston is, and it kind of fits the play of Slayton. Slayton's go down the field, you throw it up to him kind of receiver.
Yeah, he still has that burner speed.
Winston kind of fits that, and I think Winston will play well with Malik Neighbors.
Now, let me ask you a
Tells me
question.
maybe they're gonna be taking a quarterback. Maybe.
Me and you
Maybe.
have been asking. Well, me and you have been talking about this, and I don't know if you're high on him as I am. Would you trade a 3rd-round pick and maybe a player like Kayvon Thibodeau to the New England Patriots for Joe Milton?
I think that's a little too much, but I would trade for Milton if it was a little less. I don't know if I'd give him a third. I don't think I
I
would give him.
think
I would give him picks. I'd give you like a third and a fifth or something for him. I'm not giving you a player.
I think I think if the Giants don't land their guy at the draft, because Dayball is
Yeah,
high.
if they get someone at the draft and they had to figure out some other option or something just to have a backup, which I don't want it to be DeVito, develop, you should do that. But let's see. Yeah, draft a QB and let them learn for one full season. That's what I think
Yeah.
they're going to do.
Now, I said this last year, and I said it before.
That's
It
what I think
seems to
they'll do.
be the best QBs that come out
Uh,
are QBs that have the longest. You know, I think Cam Moore's going to be good. Now, why? He played 5 years in college.
yeah,
He actually played. Same thing with those who played 4 or 5 years. Bo Nix. Bo Nix fitted tremendously because he was a starter for 6 years, three different places.
yeah.
And like though if you have that playing time in college, it matters. And you're seeing like all these guys that came out 1 year, 2 year. That's why Jalen Hurts, a perfect example, was a starter at Alabama, went to Oklahoma. He's played 4 years.
Yeah.
What happened to Tua? Tua only played 2 years before coming into the NFL.
Well, that's
Struggled
why I like
immensely.
Ward. Ward has a lot of experience. Sanders has a lot of experience.
Yeah, like
Um,
you
all
need
players have a lot
everybody
of
wants that
experience. Let's
20-year-old
see.
coming out, but
Dylan Gabriel, 6-year star, UCF, Oklahoma, Oregon. Yeah, he's got a
yeah,
lot of
and he's a
experience.
lefty. And the thing is, though, like I wouldn't mind the Giants if they grab 2 quarterbacks in the draft. Like with the Patriots. Look at the
I
Patriots.
don't know if they're
The
going to
Patriots might
take
have landed on
two
two
quarterbacks and
good
three and
quarterbacks.
somewhere else, or I suspect they take your best player available at 3, and if a Sanders isn't there, a Ward isn't there, then take quarterback later.
All
It's
right.
a
So you're
possibility.
you're telling me if Jalen Monroe is that pick number or fifth round, right? And Jalen Monroe is still there, you wouldn't just pick
I
him up
think
for.
that'd be a steal. I would take Milroe if he was there and say did take a quarterback. I might take him in the second round. If he was there in the third, I definitely take Milroe in the third. But I think some of these quarterbacks are gonna go sooner than you think. Like he says, just draft Milroe. Yeah, just I like Milroe. I like some
I
of his
do too.
qualities.
I think his
I think he needs to sit a year, but I like him.
like they're talking about, well, you had to draft Shedeur Sanders, and I'm like, I don't mind they do pick Shedeur Sanders, but
Not really, but there's some
Travis
good
Hunter,
players up there.
if they go Travis
Travis
Hunter,
Hunter, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham. I mean, just those 3 guys are instant impact players.
exactly. You put Abdul Carter on that line with Brian Burns, you get rid of fucking Thibodeau because he's a bust. You get rid of those guys. You get rid of Thibodeau. You put Abdul Carter on that line. That's Micah Parsons
And
for
that's
us.
what I would do with Thibodeau. If I'm going to get rid of Thibodeau and I want Ward, I'm trading you Thibodeau and a pick or two. And that's how I'm getting the number 1 to Tennessee.
Exactly, because Thibodeau is still young, where he's coachable.
Because
It's just I don't see that fire.
I like
I don't
Thibodeau,
see it.
but you could use him as bait if you really, really wanted to.
Yeah,
Let's
but like I
see.
said, like if you go in that fourth, fifth round, and a Gabriel's there, or a Milrose there, or a Kyle McCord's there, I don't mind taking another quarterback in the fifth round.
Yeah, so Mike.
And who should draft your quarterback and then build your O line and D line while you're drafting quarterback learns.
Yep,
Though that's the thing, though.
they got a good talent there. I mean, I think that it's going to be Sanders at 3, trading up for Ward, or they're taking like a Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, and taking a quarterback with your pick number 34.
I don't
Then
think
they have
the thing
65 and
is,
99, so we'll
I
have
don't think
opportunities to take
because
quarterbacks.
I know they like Jackson. Like this is the rumor in the Giants one. Dayball loves
I love
Shador.
Jackson Dart, but he might not last to 34. He may be
Yeah,
gone.
that's what I'm saying. I can see the Giants moving back up into the first round to get a quarterback if because
I might do that if one of them are there. If I feel like there's only one team ahead of us in the third round because we're picked their second pick in the second round. So it depends on who was there and who falls. If Sanders fell that far, I'm afraid back up into like I've seen that scenario where people said Sanders falls to the 20s. I'll trade back up to the 20s to do that.
Sanders doesn't fall past Oakland.
But I don't think he'll
Oakland will
fall.
snag him in a heartbeat.
But I don't think he'll fall out of the top 10. I think if Sanders is there, we'll take him at 3.
Yeah.
If he's not there, I
like
think
said,
the guys go best player available.
And the thing is, with they're talking about because I think Dayball really loved
Hold on.
Miller. Oh, good.
Yeah, hold on.
Miller's
still wet. His IQ is not NFL ready. He still has to learn progression, reading defenses, strong arm, arm, and he's got a strong arm and he can run. But he needs more development than a Sanders, than a Ward. I think Dart is better.
I don't have it downloaded. Whenever you get a chance.
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head. Why is it not coming on?
So I like Dart, Eddie. I like Jackson Dart. I like McCord. McCord will probably be there later. I would say Monroe was terrible.
Well, no, you gotta remember,
Alabama lost a lot of talent, and they without Saban, I think they're a little bit different. Their adjustment period, I think, for them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
With exactly.
I think that's too early for a receiver for us.
Tournament Miller, they have him.
We traded down. Yeah, could stay in the top 10. Then I'd take McMillan. But
now,
trade down.
What would you like? All right, how much would you need to move off of number 3?
Depends on how far the team's moving.
Because Oakland's looking to move up. They've been talking with the Browns, and they've been talking with Tennessee. Tennessee is the most viable to lead number 1 because they need so much more than just a quarterback. So them acquiring a whole bunch of more picks just to give up on Ward and still land like a Jackson Dart.
It depends on how far they want to trade. They want to trade down. If they want to stay in the top 5, they're not going to trade with the Raiders. They're going to trade with us. With someone else in the top 5. Really depends. I would trade with the Browns easily. I would trade to number 2 easily. The way I'm guaranteed to get one of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, like I said, this is what I put it. The Giants do not lose in this situation, and I'll tell you the reason why. Say the first 2 quarterbacks go, then you don't need a quarterback, and you get the best player in the. You get a Travis Hunter.
If 2 quarterbacks go 1 and 2, you're getting the best player in the draft probably. Yeah. Period. At 3.
So, but that leaves you like people are like, oh well, they didn't like. There's always gonna be somebody that scrutinizes you. Nobody can say, oh well, and there's nobody's talked about this on any show I've watched. Giants don't lose in this situation. Quarterback goes 1 and 2, you get Travis Hunter. Exactly. They go Abdul Carter, you get your quarterback. You trade down to 7, and you still get a decent player, and you get way more picks to build with, and it brings you back. Because what they're not telling you is Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, Milroe, and McCord, they're not that far off. It's just this is not last year where
then you have
5 teams need a quarterback.
Who's another tier down. This guy I kind of like, but I would take him way late in the draft. Tyler Slow. Slot. I would take him way late in the draft.
Or like I said, you use.
Hold on. Michael says, I would say Thibodeau is a bust. I mean, the Eagles' Brandon Graham was considered a bust for 3 years. I think they're going to, with like 1 more year, I think they're going to give Thibodeau. I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't think he's been that terrible.
All right. Michael, my point of view of him saying he's a bust, when Brandon Graham came in, he was that guy. He didn't really have one on the other side of him. He's got an all-pro Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence right next to him, and he's still not getting the pressure he needs to get in.
Yeah, he could be a little bit better.
It's the point now where he's not even helping them get pressure.
Yeah,
I said this last year. I said, if Brian Burns comes in here, it's going to be one of 2 ways. Either he's going to get double-teamed and Thibodeau will get the tackles, or Thibodeau will get the sacks, or they'll double-team Thibodeau to get let Brian Burns go, and then him and Dex will eat. We didn't see none of that last year. That defensive line was shut down for most of the year.
It's also a different scheme. I didn't really like the scheme mode, but still, Thibodeau should be able to overcome that. That's why taking someone like an Abdul Carter would I would not be mad at all, to be
No, I
honest. Let's
wouldn't.
see. A couple of these cards. The Jets, if he fell to the Jets, I would take Sanders in a second if I was the Jets. Let's see. I could see that. I could see the Raiders taking one of those two.
I'm not high on Genty, dude. If you watch the Penn State game,
And I'll take
anytime they
Tyler
had
Warren.
8
They got
guys in
two
the
other tight
box,
ends.
anytime they had 8 guys in the box, Penn State shut that shit down. And that's all you like. The thing is, Scatterbro, and the kid from North Carolina,
And
they are
Scottaboo.
better. Yeah, they are better at getting bouncing to the outside and hitting holes better. I think whoever
I think
lands one of
late-
those two in the second or third round, or maybe even the fourth round, is going to be set up for a good. You know, look at us. We just got Tyrone Tracy. I would love to add Scatterbro to
Scottaboo. Yeah.
Scottaboo. I'm sorry, Scottaboo. I would
Let's
I
see,
would not mind adding him in a later round to
I
go
wouldn't
with a
mind
nice
that.
1-2 punch.
Yeah, I watched the Bears trap to number 1, Hunter, and he says I wouldn't mind that because then I know I'm getting a quarterback. You know,
Yeah.
Then I know get one of the quarterbacks that I like. You know,
And
that
listen,
makes it easy
for all
for the
those people who
Giants,
are
I
like,
think.
well, Shedeur Sanders, he's cocky. You know, I'm like, this kid has been bred for this. Like, I don't like Dion. Don't get me
So it's
wrong.
not
Like,
for a
I think he's a
quarterback. I'll be
fucking
okay
mouthful.
with it.
But
Let's see.
this kid
who's
has
your
worked with the
defensive
best
coordinator?
quarterbacks coaches since he was in 9th grade.
Bowen is our defensive coordinator. He was with Tennessee.
Yeah.
Prior for 5-6 years. Let's see.
So, all right. So we went to
How about Carter at 3? I would definitely take Abdul Carter at 3 if he's there.
like I said, like this is what I'm saying. Giants cannot lose. I think Carter would be the lesser of the picks I would take, just because we do have so many defensive linemen that can go. Like I still like Elijah Chapman. I think
But
he's
taking
really
Hunter would make the defense like with Adebo and Banks and I can't think of the Nubin.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, with our defense, that's why I kind of wanted Milton from free agency from the Eagles. I thought he would fit in perfect next to Dex. Like with those two wreaking havoc, oh man.
Chelsea Golston, yeah. He's a good defensive tackle pickup. I like him. I like him. It's a good pickup for them. A good depth signing.
Yeah.
The Raiders have Bowers for the teams they have Bowers and Mayer. So they're not taking a Warren. They're not taking a tight end. They may take a defensive player. They may take McMillan. They might.
Now, how would you feel if they traded back and got Ward?
Got who?
Ward from Penn State.
Warren?
Yeah.
Or us?
Yeah.
I think that'd be a little radical move, to be honest, but it's not really something that I think they should be addressing at the moment. But you know, I don't see them doing that. But I wouldn't be mad at it. Hold on a second. Sanders holds the ball too, but Sanders is still good. Like Sanders is still pretty accurate. Like
Yeah, but all right, listen. People
Like,
are like, oh, he didn't face great competition.
Sanders is talented. I like him. I like Sanders.
Yeah,
I know people say, "Oh, he sucks," or he played in a shitty conference or whatever. But he's talented. Like he's accurate. He's a playmaker. I I prefer Ward's size, but Sanders has a lot of talent. Like he's very talented. Like I like him. Like that's something you can also fix as well.
And like I said, Giants have been
I'm not
on
gonna say that.
Sanders since the beginning of the season. They have
And
gone
Sanders,
to
people don't realize Sanders was one of the best in college football under pressure.
yeah.
Like, turnover worthy plays, touchdown to interception ratio under pressure. He was one of the best
Was
in
he like
college football.
37 and 8 in touchdown
Him and
interceptions?
Ward were two of the best in college football. Like, under pressure, he was better than anyone in the country. Sanders under
Yeah.
pressure, under pressure.
And
He's
people
like-
kind of forget. Like
He's
they,
like
they
70%
go back-
under pressure, or something like that.
They go back to the Pro Bowl, the bowl game. Cam Ward was a no show in his game. At least
I
you
think
saw
Hemsworth
Shedeur Sanders try to fight
talented,
back
too.
in that game.
Yeah. Let's see. What about trade down but stay in the top 10 and get picks? Oh yeah, the Javon Walker. Is that who you're talking about? I like Javon Walker, the edge guy from
Listen, like I said, the
him
Giants do
or
not lose this draft.
Javon Walker, Jalen Walker, or Abdul Carter. Yeah, both of them are edge guys. I like both those guys. Let's see. Hold on a minute. Let's see. But trade down if the guys you don't like are there, but there's gonna be one of the top 3 players they like that are gonna be there.
Although Zach Sanders has taken us on him.
What do you mean, Eddie? You want to clarify? Raiders taking that'd be a great pick for the Raiders, I think. Oh, was.
Yeah, but like I said, well, that's something that what benefits us about everybody thinking that is that look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen had the same problem. He had that gunslinger in him where he would throw it very inaccurate. And what happened? Spent time with Brian Daboll. They got worked over it for 2 seasons. Now he's in the AFC Championship game every year.
Yeah.
It's they're not picking what they've seen in college. They're picking the fundamentals of college. They pick I'm pissed Dallas lost Golston.
Yeah, we are happy about it. Thank you very much. Thank you, GM of Dallas. Thank you, sir.
I read some of his stat lines and I went
it.
back and watched some of the games of Golston.
I'm very happy about it.
He's improved every year.
Nicely.
He went from having 1 sack his first year, 2.5 the next year, then to 5 the last year. So
good fit for us.
I like that. I like that. Keep it up. That's what I'm gonna see.
Jackson Burns and Thibodeau, and I like that. Let's see. Warren's is this year's Brock Bowers. Whoever gets Warren's got a good football player. Paul says, but Sanders is you for New York media? It's different. Say, the wrong thing in your. Yeah, like that's the only thing I can say is like I think that mentally, obviously, it's always a concern with any quarterback. Even if it was Ward, I'd be concerned mentally. He can he crumble on the field, or could it be off the field? It's one or the other with some of these players. Some of them are really good off the field. They crumble on the field. Some are the opposite. Some are good at both. So,
I think this is my prediction for it.
I think Sanders will be okay because Deion Sanders knows what it's like to handle that pressure. I think
they're going to get Shedeur Sanders, and this is why I say they get Shedeur Sanders.
I got a feeling it's going to be
Shedeur Sanders. No matter what, was going to be either the number 1 pick or whatever the Giants' pick was. His last bowl game, he wore New York Giants cleats. He's been in contact with the New York Giants. The Giants, Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, had been invited personally to Colorado practices to watch Shedeur Sanders more than any other team in this league. More than the Browns, more than the Titans have been there a few times.
They liked him.
They have viewed Shedeur Sanders more than any other team in this league. Deion's come out and said, "You think we won't pull an Eli if Shedeur's going to go somewhere we don't want him to go?" And guess what? He said it on a podcast not even a month ago.
No way.
Shedeur's going to New York. He wants to go to New York. The only other place he said he would want to go is Vegas. That's why I'm scared that Tennessee can be persuaded by the Raiders to give up that number 1 pick. Because they do have Brock Bowers, but also they have Michael Mayer, who's also a great tight end, and future draft picks to get rid of.
Maybe.
So they're the only team I'm seriously worried about moving ahead of us to take Shedeur. But then again, if they do, Giants don't lose. We just go get the next best player.
You're gonna get a great player. You're gonna get a Mason Graham, a Hunter, an Abdul Carter.
Because listen,
could be Jalen Walker for all we know.
Because that means
some good players.
If they move up to take Shedeur, that means the Browns are going to take Cam Ward, or they're going to take Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter goes, guess what?
We'll get Cam Ward.
We get Cam Ward. That's a Big Ben in our area, which I agree with the body type. I have him more of, he's had a little bit of an injury, but I can see the fundamentals there. And he's cocky, he's brash, and he knows what he's got. And him with Malik Neighbors, that deep ball is going to be better than ever.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that I don't know, it's very interesting to see what's going to happen, especially with Tennessee. I'm getting a feeling that it's going to be Ward that goes number one, unless we trade for him. But I think Sanders could be the guy we get. Hunter. Like I said, Hunter, Abdul Carter. They're going to get either a quarterback they want or an impact player they want. So, and they're in a great position. They have, pick 3, pick 34, pick 65, pick 99, and pick like 105 or something like that. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You get some good players in those positions like that. Let's see. Yeah, the Browns could be persuaded easily. That's why I said for us.
But
I mean,
it's
I would
easier to build.
I
Like I
would
said, right now
I
they're
think
in cap hell because of Deshaun
exactly.
Watson.
But for us, I would definitely think about call the president. Hey, you want to swap picks? If they don't want one of the quarterbacks, that's the way you can get them to trade out of the pick, especially Tennessee also. If they don't want Ward or Sanders, it's easier to get them to trade out of that pick or they can take the best player. Like the possibilities are endless for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Do they believe Ward or Sanders is like that answer for them? I really don't know. I couldn't say.
But whoever, like I said, goes to Tennessee, they have no weapons. They have no offensive line, no running backs. Their defense is subpar. So, like, Tennessee is one of the worst teams in the league. I don't know if Shador's going to want to go there.
I have no idea.
So it's probably best for them to.
I still see Sanders being the number one pick. That's all.
I don't see him being the number one pick to Tennessee.
Him.
I do see him being the number one pick in a trade with the
Raiders. If it was us, it was the Raiders. It was someone needs a quarterback. Then yeah, it would make sense. Depending on what you're going to get. But we're going to do a sponsor real quick, and then we're going to do we'll do the rest of the show. What I heard, 1, 2, 3, Terry Big Al, Jason Fine. Hey, more vehicle slip and fall, workers for compensation, personal claim, injury claims. To help with any of your legal troubles. They have 3 locations: Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and Pittsburgh, PA. Give them a call if you ever have any legal trouble, any trouble with the law you need to solve. Once again, what I heard Big Al, what I heard 1, 2, 3. Terry Big Al, Jason Fine. So, like I said, it's a very exciting time of year. I thought we were going to be signing Rodgers. I thought we were going to be doing that. We got Winston. Very excited to see what happens in the draft. We got a month to go. In the draft here, see who they're going to take. Are they going to take quarterback? Are they going to trade up? Or going to trade down? They're going to take the best player available. So it's very exciting time. So very excited to see what happens. But I like some of the signings. I like that they finally found a quarterback. It's about time.
Now, Dan, I gotta ask you, how do you feel about Daniel Jones going to Indianapolis?
I think it's quite interesting that he's on the Colts. And it's the team we beat to lose the number 1 pick.
They were 7-10 last year. 7-9.
Colts were bad down the stretch.
Yeah, they were very bad down the stretch.
They played pretty bad football.
One quarterback that we really didn't talk about, who I also would have been happy to sign, Carson Wentz. And I'll tell you the reason why.
Carson Wentz would have been okay.
I wouldn't have been mad at it either, because if you look at what he's done in his body of work, it didn't work out in Washington. He had one bad season in Philly. Then he went to the Colts, didn't have a bad year at all. Just, team was all around. Defense was shitty on that team. Won 28 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Was benched because he didn't do enough. Granted, some of his play is wrong, but talk about an MVP caliber quarterback just falling from grace because he didn't get along with the locker room. Now, This is the shit. I want to say this now because, I got into an argument with this with a fan because I'm like, besides us being New York Giants fans, we are NFL fans, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I don't, as an NFL fan, I don't think Carson Wentz is that bad of a quarterback. He's made some dumb mistakes, yeah, but you have people. I just don't understand it. I don't understand where the hate comes from. But that would have been one signing I would have loved to have because I think he would have cost less than Jameson.
Yeah, absolutely. It would take him like the league minimum.
Yeah.
Like that.
But I don't like I said, I'm happy about Golston, Javon Holland. I'm very happy when he's like I said, his production dipped a little bit this last year, but you know,
The Debo
having the
signing was
youngest
also a good
backfield
signing. Yep.
is something that we can build off of because those contracts ain't gonna come around for a while.
No, definitely not. I also like the Roy Robertson Harris backup defensive line signing.
I'm not.
Cheers.
That's all just depth.
Yeah, depth. Jeremiah Ledbetter is depth. Yeah, the Golston signing, the Golston signing, the Humphrey signing, the Debo signing, the Holland signing. I think is the best signing they had. I like that they brought back Van Roten. Forsyth, I don't really like that. The Slayton signing, I think he's okay. I mean, I'm not terribly mad at it. I like the Chris Moore deal. He's a good special teams player, backup linebacker.
Yeah, linebacker.
So I think they've done well for agency. They finally signed Jameis Winston. I like that signing. It's cheap. You know, he's a good veteran. You know, he's serviceable. He's not the worst quarterback in the league. And we'll see if his backup's going to be a rookie or not. I can't really tell yet.
It's better not be DeVito. That's
I don't really see him make any more really big moves in free agency, to be honest.
Let me ask you a
I can see
question.
him
Do you
redoing some
think Drew
contracts,
Lock
maybe.
winning last year stopped him from getting re-signed?
Ha! Maybe they were just pissed at him. God damn, this Drew Lock, we wanted him to suck. We thought he was going to suck ass and we were going to lose. They should have just stuck with DeVito. Maybe they were afraid, you know, oh man, DeVito's going to fuck us like he did last year. You know,
It's
or
crazy.
like
Like,
that,
DeVito showed promise, and then last year he just looked fucking dead in the water.
He's just not a good quarterback. Like, he'll probably have little strings where he's okay, where he's serviceable, but then I'll have strings of games where he's just absolutely brutally awful. You know, as a practice squad guy,
anybody would make
fine.
me miss
I don't
Tyrod
want him
Taylor.
as a backup. Absolutely not.
I did not think anybody would make me miss Tyrod Taylor.
Let's see. What's going to be a decent backup in Dallas? I think so. Michael says it wasn't just the locker room in Philly with Wentz. It's out there in Philly and Indy that he was uncoachable. I mean, he wanted to go to Indy with Reich, and it didn't work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was all right that first year he was there.
Okay, hold up. Before you saying that, that's coming from Shady McCoy, who's one of the most hating-ass motherfuckers ever, and Darren Sproles. And Darren Sproles said, the only thing he said was, oh, I was the first option, but he would throw it to the tight end instead. And I'm like, okay, but if the dude's an MVP caliber quarterback and is winning, why are you mad? You're mad because you're not getting the ball. And Shady McCoy is a big-ass fucking hater. The dude talks like, oh, well, I won 2 Super Bowls. He sat on the fucking bench the entire time. He sat on the bench for the Tampa Bay Bucks, and he sat on the bench for the fucking Chiefs. And he walks around like he's a champion. No, dude, you rode the bench and were a bench warmer. Fuck Shady McCoy. This dude is a fucking hater. Like, I'm sorry. And this ain't just a Giants fan coming out of me. This is just a fucking regular NFL fan. You were good for a year. You went to Buffalo and didn't do shit. You sat on the bench and won a Super Bowl. Congratulations. That makes you a champion. What's that from Semi-Pro? Well, I want to read that. The best quote from Semi-Pro. He sat through every playoff game. Every playoff game. He did not want Peterson fired. Stop. He took the Eagles to a fucking playoff, and then you guys got him hurt. I get it. Him busting his knee up was him diving. He got him hurt. I get that
I
part.
think it's just
But
bad.
y'all
luck,
not
that's all.
blocking and letting Jadeveon Clowney cave in his fucking skull, that's on y'all. He took a Eagles team to the playoffs, beat a really good Dallas team with no wide receivers to mention. Not one of y'all can mention the fucking wide receivers that were on that team. I guess you're an Eagles fan. I don't care. I was in Philly. Listen, I was there when he was there.
All
Carson
right,
Wentz
let's
was fucking good
settle down.
quarterback.
Let's
Y'all are
settle
impatient
down.
as shit.
Let's
Y'all
settle
signed
down.
Jalen Rager over fucking Justin Jefferson. Imagine what Carson Wentz could have done with Justin Jefferson. Listen, you guys went out and you guys listen. I'm actually coming out of. I was a big Jalen Hurts fan. I wanted the Giants to draft him in 2020. I really did. And this is coming from the heart. I really did. I wanted Jalen Hurts for the Giants. I thought he was a great quarterback. I thought he was better than Tua, and turns out I'm right. But to say Carson Wentz was bad, no. He couldn't win big games. One big game, Indy, he couldn't even keep the job. And Washington was a dumpster fire for years. He went to Indy and was on a 9-7 record and got beat by the Jaguars, who also has beaten Indy for the last 5 years. And his defense gave up more than he did. The dude was 27-2 on touchdown to interception ratio. The team was garbage. What would you want him to do? He's a serviceable quarterback. I've never seen a quarterback be 20. Dude, our fucking shitty Daniel Jones took us to the playoffs on 15-11.
I just don't think Wentz has been the same since he got hurt. That's all.
No, because they didn't block for him. He got his fucking head caved in. And then the whole offseason, they're telling him he's the problem.
Oh, that's sometimes people blame.
Dude, I've never seen a quarterback.
Game,
dude, he took y'all to 12-0. Yeah, he took y'all to 12-0, and then Nick Foles came in on a stacked roster and won you a Super Bowl. Congratulations. You guys were a juggernaut that year. You were Zach Carson and make him QB1 for your Giants. I would. I really would.
I wouldn't. No, I'm staying away from Wentz. Not
that
I don't like him.
He's been out for fucking last 2 years.
I just think
he's to say he was a bad quarterback? No, he was not a bad quarterback.
Oh, no way we bring in Wentz. Yeah, if they brought Wentz, if they so-called did, they'd take a quarterback, yes, if they had an opportunity, I think.
Yeah, he's broken now, but when you guys got rid of him, fucking had one bad season. I don't want to hear that bullshit.
Yeah, I just think that Carson Wentz, ever since the injury, just isn't the same player, that's all. I'm glad we at least got a quarterback.
Like I said, it makes me laugh, dude. Like, Eagles fans turn on him so quick. I'm like, it made no sense. No sense. But, yeah, like I said, it worked out for you guys because you guys got Jalen Hurts and y'all built around him. But I'm like, imagine with fucking Carson Wentz, his rookie deal, what he would have done in that squad. Like, you guys would have been, you probably would have beat the next year. You probably would have beat
the yeah.
But
yeah, Wentz is a backup. Yeah, Wentz is a backup. That's all I think he is. I think
nowadays he is.
I think he'd be a good backup.
If we don't get a quarterback, he's good for a bridge quarterback. He's still
a couple 3 years ago, 3-4 years ago, I would have signed him as a bridge guy. But yeah,
I think he's a bridge guy now. Look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff's not much better. He's just on a stacked roster.
I think Wentz will be a backup at most, but like I said, for us, I'm glad we at least have more one quarterback on the roster, and not just Tommy DeVito. James Winston isn't the best option, but it's something at least. We'll see what they do in the draft. We'll see if they do anything more in free agency. I don't really see them doing much more, to be honest. QB was the really last thing. They addressed safety, they addressed corner. I think they addressed offensive line as best they could. They brought back Van Rote in. Addressed their front. Their front of their defense, the back end of their defense. So I think they've done well in free agency, and we'll see if they're gonna have a new rookie quarterback or not, or a stud pass rusher. We'll see.
We will see. Like I said, this is what we say from now on. It's the Giants memo. We do not lose. We cannot lose. There's no point. We can be behind the scoreboard, but we will get a decent fucking player, and I know that.
Yeah, so that's what Eddie said. Says the Giants are in great shape even if they don't take a quarterback at 3.
Yeah,
You know, we'll take the
I
best
think, like I
player
said, the
available.
pieces are
Take a
there.
quarterback
Like,
we like. We'll trade up. Take the best player available. And you know, I like that they have the second pick in the second round, the first pick at the top of the third. So it's a good position for your first 3 picks if you're not going to trade them.
I agree.
Let's see. Oh, Winston will start. James Winston will start for us. Absolutely, he will start unless we got a Ward or Sanders and they just absolutely blew people away like in the off season. I don't see
Even
that
though
happening. I think
I think
Winston will hit the ground running. He'll be he's brought here to start, not to be the backup.
all right. I do know one thing though. Whatever quarterback we do get, I want them starting every preseason game, at least for a half.
Well, yeah, yeah. The rookie. Yeah, you're gonna play the rookie a lot, especially if he's your number 2 guy. And that's what I'd be doing.
Like I want him playing. I know they're gonna play the Jets because they always play the Jets. They might play New England, depends. But like I want them to play. Like I said, if we don't, if we don't get a high draft pick, I would not mind going up for Joe Milton. I know I keep saying this, but like I said it last year when I see him
I
in
don't
the
think you,
preseason, I'm like,
I don't think you got to give up much to get him. To be honest.
that's what I'm saying.
Like
Like
you're
he's
that like
armed,
when
like
you
he's not a fucking
proposed
cannon.
when you proposed, I think that's too much. I don't think it would cost that much to get him.
Just
I
to be
really don't.
sure though, because I think there's other
You
teams that
know,
are looking at him.
I would definitely throw something out there and see if they'll bite. You know,
Because even he said it, he wants to play. I'm like, dude, you look so fucking good in Big Blue. I already know it.
did the Eagles do what's wrong after Super Bowl when allowing beer card you put up a? I don't know.
I mean, you put up a
Nick Foles
statue of
went
a
on an
player
incredible fucking
who
run.
went 2-2 in the regular season. Play what? So he went 2-2. He won you 2 games or 3 games after that. He went 5-2 to a quarterback that won you 12 games to get you in the first round or first round bye. And Carson Wentz would have smoked Atlanta. He
Who
probably
knows
would have
though?
smoked Minnesota. The
Who knows?
Patriots game, give it a toss up,
Maybe
but
maybe he wouldn't have played as well. Who knows? Who knows? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. As he looked
you
all
know.
season, he looked dial in.
But I
And you
think it
can't
makes
say like
sense
if
to.
he's like I said, if a quarterback's doing it his way, oh, he's not coachable. Well, if he's winning games, how can you coach him? What he's
I
doing
think
is working. Like I'm sorry, like I'm not gonna be like, well, I like how you threw that touchdown there, but you had a guy right open here on your flat. You could have easily done him. That's where you're supposed to go with the ball. But no, you seen a wide open tight end down an all pro Zach Ertz down the middle of the field. Oh, you decided to throw it to him and send it into a fucking 5'6" running back. Totally agreeable. I understand. You should have fucking fired him just that day. It makes
I
no
don't know.
sense. What
Is
Darren Sproles said was, I'm supposed to be the first option, but he's throwing it to a tight end. The tight end's an all pro. The tight end did something in the Super Bowl. Darren Sproles didn't do shit in the Super Bowl. Neither did fucking fuck's his name? Fucking Shady McCoy. Ain't never done shit in a playoff game. You were in Philly for what, 8 years? Never did a fucking thing but you won one rushing title.
But Nick Foles did, so you can't say he didn't do nothing. So
I give Foles more credit than I'll ever give Shady McCoy credit. Shady McCoy
I
played
agree with
10
that.
years, and he was good for 2 of those years, or 3 of those years. As soon as he got to Buffalo, he did not do a fucking thing. And he sits on a fucking panel and talks like he's a champion. Like, the movie Semi-Pro is the best example I can say of this. I would never walk around and call myself a champion if I sat on the fucking bench every day.
Well, I don't think that any player should really be saying anything about any player. I think they should keep it in house. I think
No,
it's a little
bullshit. Dude,
no
they
matter.
have come out and land blasted that dude because he's,
No,
like I said,
I know
Carson
that,
Wentz
but I'm
is
sorry.
not he wasn't the rah guy. I'm gonna get the troops together. He was, I'm gonna keep to myself. He's not a leader. He's not a leader of the locker room. You get mad at him because he's not a leader of the locker room. Not every quarterback does.
Oh, I know. I thought you.
Even look at Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp says, John Elway was not a leader of the locker room. He goes, that was my job. It was my job to get the guys ramped up and ready to go. He goes, that was my job. He goes, but John was our quarterback. Not every quarterback needs to be the leader of the offense.
Oh, I agree
I'm
with
just
that.
sorry. It is what it is.
I agree with that. We're gonna just tell you some of the shows we got coming up. On Monday we got Sully Squad, and then we'll give our final thoughts. Silver and Black for the Kings at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Sully Squad Phillies talk at 6 p.m. Got a little bit of everything here on Out of the Box Sports. Me and Paul will be back next week at 6 p.m. NFL Weekly Talk. We'll be here on Fridays, probably a little earlier, probably a different time next week. With Big Blue Power Hour, and you got Atomic Drop on Saturday, and then we're gonna have Silver and Black podcast for the Raiders with 10 coming up at 11 o'clock tonight. So got a little bit of everything here at Out of the Box Sports, but what's your give me your final thought on this week for the Giants?
I give it a solid B minus.
Free agency wise, I think so.
Yes,
I'd say B
solid
plus.
B minus for free agency. They weren't lazy like the Cowboys, but they weren't as
Cowboys didn't
great
have
as
a
I
lot of
thought they could
space.
be. I would like a little bit better offensive lining signing, but they didn't overspend for a quarterback, and they got two young backfielders. I can live with that.
Yeah, I like a Debo. I like the Holland signing. I think that the Hudson signing is a solid sign, and James Winston I think is a solid, veteran bridge quarterback you can get, and we'll see if they get a quarterback in the draft, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be back on Big Blue Power. We'll be back next week on Friday, probably around 8 p.m. But we'll decide the time and I'll let everybody know.
Let
All
us
right,
know.
Evan?
Do you like the later time or do you like the earlier time? Let us know, man. We want to this year. We want to feedback from our fans. Thank you guys for coming in, commenting. Trust us, comment more. We want to have an open discussion with you guys every week. Look us up on Twitter, YouTube. We're there. We're gonna be posting more, having discussions, more polls. Feeling how you guys feel out.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we'll have a poll going up probably on the Out of the Box page within the next couple hours. Let us know how you feel. Give us comments. Let's do this. It's gonna be back.
The Giants are good free agency. Rome wasn't built in a day. I do like your head coach. And we'll see if they have a better year this year.
I agree. The best thing
Because
they did all
last couple
free
years were
agency was
brutal.
keep Shane. I agree, Shane. We'll get into it next week, but I agree. Keeping Shane was a great idea. Keeping Dayball was
Thanks,
a great
Michael.
idea.
Yep,
Thanks,
all right,
Mike.
everybody. All right, everybody have a good weekend. And let's go Big Blue. Go
Big Blue.
Giants.